Tush! Never tell me. I take it most unkindly that thou, Iago, who hadst had my purse as if the strings were thine, shouldst know of this.
Sblood, but you'll not hear me. If ever I did dream of such a matter, abhor me.
Thou toldst me thou didst hold him in thy hate.
Despise me if I do not. 3 great ones of the city, in personal suit to make me his lieutenant, off-capped to him, and by the faith of man, I know my price. I am worse, no worse a place. But he is loving his own pride and purposes, evades them with a bombast circumstance, horribly stuffed with epithets of war, and in conclusion, none suits my mediators. For certes, says he, I have already chose my officer. And what was he? Forsooth, a great arithmetician, one Michael Cassio, a Florentine, a fellow almost damned in a fair wife, that never set squadron in the field, nor the division of a battle knows more than a spinster, unless the bookish theoric, where the togid consuls can propose as masterly as he. Mere prattle without practice is all his soldiership, but he, sir, had the election. And I, of whom his eyes had seen the proof at Rhodes, at Cyprus, and on other grounds Christian and heathen, must be belayed and calmed by creditor and debtor. This countercaster, he in good time must his lieutenant be, and I, God bless the mark, his moorship's ancient.
By heaven, I would rather have been his hangman.
Why, there's no remedy. 'Tis the curse of service. Preferment goes by letter and affection, not by old gradation, where each second stood heir to the first. Now, sir, be judge yourself, whether I in any just term am affined to love the more.
Ha! I would not follow him then.
Oh, sir, content you. I follow him to serve my turn upon him. We cannot all be masters, nor all masters cannot be truly followed. You shall mark many a duteous and knee-crooking knave that, doting on his own obsequious bondage, wears out his time, much like his master's ass, for naught but provender, and when he's old, cashiered. Whip me such honest knaves. Others there are who, trimmed in forms and visages of duty, keep yet their hearts attending on themselves, and throwing but shows of service on their lords, do well thrive by them, and when they have lined their coats, do themselves homage. These fellows have some soul, as such a one as I do profess myself. For, sir, it is as sure as you are Rodrigo. Were I the Moor, I would not be Iago. In following him, I follow but myself. Heaven is my judge, not I for love and duty, but seeming so for my peculiar end. For when the native act and complement extern, in figure of my heart, 'tis not long after, but I will wear my heart on my sleeve for daws to peck at. I am not what I am.
What a full fortune does the thick lips owe if he can carry it thus.
Call up her mother, rouse her, make after her, poison her delight, proclaim her in the streets, incense her kinsmen, and though she in a fertile climate dwell, plague her with flies. Though that her joy be joy, yet throw such chances of vexation on it, as it may lose some color.
Here is her mother's house. I'll call aloud.
Do, and with timorous accent and dire, yell as when by night and negligence the fire is spied in the populous cities.
What ho! Robantio! Robantio, ho!
What's the reason of this terrible summons? What is the matter there?
Signora, is all your family within?
Why, wherefore you ask this? What, have you lost your wits?
Most Reverend Signora, do you know my voice?
Not I. What are you?
My name is Rodrigo.
Oh, the worse are welcome. I have charged thee not to haunt about my doors. And on this plain as thou hast heard me say, my daughter is not for thee. And now in madness, being full of supper and distempering draughts, upon malicious bravery, dost thou come to start my quiet.
Miss, Lady!
Yeah, but thou
Wait.
must needs be sure my spirit and my place have in them power to make this bitter to thee.
Patience, good lady.
What tellst thou me of robbing? This is Venice, my house is not a grange.
Most grave Brabantio, in simple and pure soul I come to you.
God, if the devil in you.
Profane wretch art thou?
I am one, madam, that come to tell you, your daughter and the Moor are making the priest to that.
Thou art a villain.
You are a senator.
This thou shalt answer. I know thee, Rodrigo.
Lady, I will answer anything, but I beseech you, if it be your pleasure and most wise content, as partly I find it is, that your fair daughter, at this odd evening and dull watch of the night, transported with no worse nor better guard, but with a knave of common hire, a gondolier, to the gross clasps of a lascivious Moor, if this be known to you and your allowance, we then have done you bold and saucy wrongs. But if you know not this, my manners tell me we have your wrong rebuke. Do not believe that from the sense of all civility, I thus would play and trifle with your reverence. I say, your daughter, if you have not given her leave, I say again, hath made a gross revolt, tying her duty, beauty, wit, and fortunes in an extravagant and wheeling stranger of here and everywhere. Straight satisfy yourself. If she be in her chamber of your house, let loose on me the justice of the state for thus deluding you.
Strike on the timber, ho! Give me a taper, call up my people. This accident is not unlike my dream. Belief of it oppresses me already. Light, I say, light!
Farewell, for I must leave you. It seems not meet nor wholesome to my place to be producted, as if I stay I shall, against the Moor. For I do know the state, however this may gall him with some check, cannot satisfy, cast him with he's embarked with such loud reason for the Cyprus wars, which even now stands in act that for their souls, another of his fathom, they have none to lead their business. In which regard, though I do hate him, as I do hell pains, yet for necessity of present life I must show out a flag and sign of love, which is indeed but sign, that shall surely find him, lead him to the Sagittary, the raised search, and there I will be with him. So farewell.
It is too true and evil. Gone she is, and what's to come of my despised time is not but bitterness. Now, Rodrigo, where didst thou see her? Oh, unhappy girl, with a Moor, sayest thou? Oh, who would be a father? How dost thou know 'twas she? She deceives me past thought. What said she to you? Get more papers, raise all my kindred. Are they married, think you?
Truly, I think they are.
Oh, heaven. Oh, how she got out. Oh, treason of the blood. Oh, fathers, from hence trust not your daughters' minds by what you see them act. Is there not charms by which the property of youth and maidenhood may be abused? Have you not read, Rodrigo, of some such thing?
Yes, ma'am, I have indeed.
Well, call up my brother. Oh, I would you had had her, some one way, some another. Do you know where we may apprehend her in the Moor?
I think I can discover him. If you please to get good guard and go along with me.
Pray you lead on. At every house I'll call. I may command at most. Get weapons, ho! And raise some special officers of the night. On, good Rodrigo, I will deserve your pains.
Though in the trade of war I have slain men, yet I do hold it very stuff of the conscience to do no contrived murder. I lack iniquity sometimes to do me service. 9 or 10 times I had thought yet yerked him here under the ribs.
'Tis better as it is.
Nay, but he prated and spoke such scurvy and provoking terms against your honor, that with little godliness I have, I did full hard forbear him. But I pray you, sir, are you fast married? Be assured of this, that the Magnifico is much beloved, and hath in his effect a voice potential as double as the Duke's. He will divorce you, or put upon you what restraint or grievance the law with all his might to enforce it on will give him cable.
Let him do his fight. My services which I've done the Signory shall outtongue his complaints. 'Tis yet to know which I know when that boasting is an honor, I shall promulgate. I fetch my life and being from men of royal siege, and my demerits may speak unbonneted to as proud a fortune as this, and that I have reached. For know, Iago, but that I love the gentle Desdemona. I will not my unhoused-free condition put into circumscription and confine, for this sea's worth. But look, what lights come yond?
Those are the raised father and his friends. You were best go in.
No, not I must be found. My parts, my title, and my perfect soul shall manifest me rightly. Is it they?
By Janus, I think no.
The servants of the Duke and my lieutenant, the goodness not upon you, friends. What is the news?
The Duke does greet you, General, and he requires your post-haste appearance, even on the instant.
What is the matter, you think?
Something from Cyprus, as I may divine. It is a business of some heat. The galleys have sent a dozen sequent messengers this very night at one another's heels, and many of the councils raised and met are at the Duke's already. You have been hotly called for. When being not at your lodging to be found, the Senate hath sent about 3 several quests to search you out.
'Tis well that I am found by you. I will but spend a word here in the house and go with you.
Ancient, what makes he here?
Faith, he tonight hath boarded a land carrack. If it prove lawful prize, he's made forever.
I do not understand.
He's married.
To who?
Married to... come, Captain, will you go?
Have with you.
Here comes another troop to seek for you.
It is Brabantio. General, be advised, she comes to bad intent.
All stand there.
Senor, is there more?
Down with him, thief!
You, Rodrigo, come, sir, I am for you.
Keep up your bright swords, for the dew will rust them. Good Signor, you shall more command with years than with your weapons.
O thou foul thief, where hast thou stowed my daughter? Damned as thou art, thou hast enchanted her. For I'll refer me to all things of sense, if she in chains of magic were not bound. Whether a maid so tender, fair, and happy, so opposite to merits that she shunned the wealthy curled darlings of our nation, would ever have to incur a general mock, run from her guardage to the sooty bosom of such a thing as thou, to fear, not to delight. Judge me the world, if 'tis not gross in sense that thou hast practiced on her with foul charms, abused her delicate youth with drugs or minerals that weakens motion. I'll have disputed on, 'tis probable and palpable to thinking. I therefore apprehend and do attach thee for an abuser of the world, a practicer of arts inhibited and out of warrant. Lay hold upon him. If he do resist, subdue him at his peril.
Hold your hands. Both of you of mine inclining and the rest. Were it my cue to fight, I should have known it without a prompter. Whither were you that I go to answer your charge?
To prison, to fit time of law and course of direct session call thee to answer.
What if I do obey? How may the Duke be therewith satisfied, whose messengers are here about my side upon some present business of the state to bring me to him?
'Tis true, most worthy Signorina. The Duke's in council, and your noble self, I am sure, is sent for.
How the Duke in council? This time of night? Bring him away. Mine's not an idle cause. The Duke himself or any of my brothers of the state cannot but feel this wrong is for their own. For such actions may have passage free. Bondslaves and pagans shall our statesmen be.
There's no composition in these news that gives them credit.
This letter is wrong. Mine says 107 galleys.
And mine 140.
And mine 200. But they jump not on a just account, as in these cases where the aim reports, 'tis oft with difference. Yet do they all confirm a Turkish fleet bearing up to Cyprus.
Nay, it is possible enough to judgment. I do not so secure me in the error, but the main article I do approve in fearful sense.
A messenger from the galleys.
Now, what's the business?
The Turkish preparation makes for roads, so I bid report here to the state by Signor Angelo.
How say you by this change?
This cannot be, by no assay of reason. It's a pageant to keep us in false gaze. When we consider the importance of Cyprus to the Turk, and let ourselves again but understand that, so may he with more facile question bear it, for that it stands not in such warlike brace, but altogether lacks the abilities that Rhodes is dressed in. If we make thought of this, we must not think the Turk is so unskillful to lead that last which concerns him first, neglecting any attempt of ease and gain to wake and wage a danger profitless.
Nay, in all confidence, he's not for Rhodes.
Here is more news. The Ottomites, reverent and gracious, steering with due course toward the Isle of Rhodes, have there enjointed them with an afterfleet.
Aye, so I thought. How many, as you guess?
Of 30 sail, and now they do resteam, their backward course bearing with frank appearance, their purposes towards Cyprus. Signor Montano, your trusty and most valiant servitor, with his free duty recommends, and you thus, and prays you believe him.
'Tis certain then for Cyprus. Marcus Luchikos, is he not in town?
He's now in Florence.
Write from us to him post haste dispatch.
Here comes Brabantio and the valiant Moor.
Valiant Othello! We must straight employ you against the general enemy Ottoman. I did not see you. Welcome, gentle signor. We lacked your counsel and your help tonight.
So did I yours. Could your grace pardon me? Neither my place nor aught I heard of business hath raised me from my bed, nor doth the general care take hold on me. For my particular grief is of so floodgate and o'erbearing nature that it engluts and swallows other sorrows, and it is still itself.
Why, what's the matter?
My daughter! Oh, my daughter!
Dead?
Died to me! She is abused, stolen from me and corrupted by spells and medicines bought of mountebanks. For nature so preposterously to err, being not deficient, blind, or lame of sense witchcraft could not.
Whoe'er he be that in this foul proceeding hath thus beguiled your daughter of herself, and you of her, the bloody book of law you shall yourself read in the bitter letter, after your own sense, yea, though our proper son stood in your action.
Humbly I thank your grace. Here is the man. This Moor, who now it seems your special mandate for the state affairs hath thither brought.
We are very sorry for it.
What in your own part can you say to this?
Nothing, but this is so.
Most potent, grave, and reverend signors, my very noble and approved good masters, that I've taken away this old man's daughter, it is most true. True that I have married her. The very head and front of my offending hath this extent no more. Rude am I in my speech, and little blessed with the soft phrase of peace. For since these arms of mine at 7 years' pipe, till now some 9 moons wasted, they have used their dearest action in the tented field. And little of this great world can I speak more than pertains to the feat of broil and battle. And therefore, little shall I grace my cause in speaking for myself, yet by your gracious patience. I will around unvarnished tale deliver of my whole course of love. What drugs, what charms, what conjuration, and what mighty magic for such proceeding I am charged withal, I won his daughter.
A maiden never so bold, of spirit so still and quiet that her motion blushed at herself. And she, in spite of nature, of years, of country, credit, everything, to fall in love with what she feared to look on. It is a judgment maimed and most imperfect that will confess perfection so could err against all rules of nature. I must be driven to find out practices of cunning hell why this should be. I therefore vouch again that with some mixtures powerful over the blood, or with some dram conjured to this effect, he wrought upon her.
To vouch this is no proof without more wider and more overt tests than these thin habits and poor likelihoods of modern seeming to prefer against him.
But Othello, speak. Did you by indirect or forced course subdue and poison this young maid's affections? Or come it by request? And such fair question as soul to soul affordeth.
I do beseech you. Send for the lady to the Sagittary, and let her speak of me before her father. If you do find me foul in her reports, the trust, the office I do hold of you, not only take away, but let your sentence even fall upon my life.
Fetch Desdemona hither.
Ancients, conduct them. You best know the place. And till she come as truly as to heaven, I do confess the vices of my blood. So justly to your grave ears I'll present how I did thrive in this fair lady's love, and she in mine.
Say it, Othello.
Her mother loved me, often invited me. Still questioned me the story of my life from year to year, the battles, sieges, fortunes that I have passed. And I would run it through, even from my boyish days up to the very moment that he bade me to tell it, whereon I spoke of the most disastrous chances, of moving accidents by flood and field, hairbreadth escapes in the imminent deadly breach, of being taken by the insolent foe and sold to slavery, of my redemption thence, of points in my traveler's history, wherein answer vast and deserts idle, rough quarries, rocks, hills whose heads touch heaven. It was but my hint to speak, such was my process. And of the cannibals that each other eat, the improfitable, and men whose heads do grow beneath their shoulders. These things to hear would Desdemona seriously incline. But still, the house affairs would draw her thence, and whichever she would haste with dispatch, she'd come again, with the greedy ear devour up my discourse, which I, observing, took once upon an hour, and found good means to draw from her a prayer of earnest heart, that I would all my pilgrimage delay, where by parcels she had something heard, but not attentively. I did consent, and did often beguile her of her tears when I did speak of some distressful stroke that my youth offered. My story being done, she gave me for my pains a world of sighs. She swore in faith, 'twas strange, 'twas passing strange, 'twas pitiful, 'twas wondrous pitiful. She wished she had not heard it, yet she wished that heaven had made her such a man, and she thanked me and bade me that if I had a friend that loved her, I should but teach her how to tell my story, and that would woo her. Upon this hint I spake, and she loved me for the dangers I had passed, and I loved her that she did pity them. This, only the witchcraft I've used. Here she comes, let her witness it.
I think this tale would win my daughter too. Good Brabantio, take up this mangled matter at the best. Men do their broken weapons rather use than their bare hands.
I pray you hear her speak. If she confess that she was half the wooer, destruction on my head, if my bad blame light on the man. Come hither, gentle mistress. Do you perceive in all this noble company where you most owe obedience?
My noble mother, I do perceive here a divided duty. To you I am bound for life and education. My life and education both do learn me how to respect you. You are the lord of duty. I am hitherto your daughter. But here's my husband. And so much duty as my father showed to you, preferring you before his mother, so much I challenge that I may profess due to the Moor, my lord.
God be with you. I have done. Please, your grace, on to the state affairs. I had rather adopt a child than get it. Come hithermore. I here do give thee that with all my heart, which but thou hast already with all my heart I would keep from thee. For your sake, Jewel, I am glad at soul I have no other child, for thy escape would teach me tyranny to hang clogs on them. I have done, my lord.
Let me speak like yourself and lay a sentence, which as a grease or step may help these lovers into your favor. When remedies are passed, the griefs are ended by seeing the worst, which late on hopes depended. To mourn a mischief that is past and gone is the next way to draw new mischief on. Oh, what cannot be preserved when fortune takes patience her injury a mockery makes. The robbed that smiles steals something from the thief. He robs himself that spends bootless grief.
So let the Turk of Cyprus us beguile. We lose it not so long as we can smile. He bears the sentence well that nothing bears, but the free comfort which from thence he hears. But he bears both the sentence and the sorrow, that to pay grief must of poor patience borrow. These sentences to sugar or to gall, being strong on both sides, are equivocal. But words are words. I never yet did hear that the bruised heart was pierced through the ear. I humbly beseech you, proceed to the affairs of state.
The Turk, with a most mighty preparation, makes for Cyprus. Othello, the fortitude of the place is best known to you, and though we have there a substitute of most allowed sufficiency, yet opinion, a sovereign mistress of effects, throws a more safer voice on you. You must therefore be content to slubber the gloss of your new fortunes with this more stubborn and boisterous expedition.
The tyrant custom, most grave senators, hath made the flinty and steel couch of war my thrice-driven bed of down. I do agonize in natural and prompt clarity I find in hardness, and do undertake this present wars against the Ottomites. Most humbly, therefore, bending to your state, I crave fit disposition for my wife. Due reference of place and exhibition, with such accommodation and resort as levels of her breeding.
Why, at her mother's.
I will not have it so.
Nor I.
Nor would I there reside, to put my mother in impatient thoughts by being in her eye. Most gracious Duke, to my unfolding lend your prosperous ear, and let me find a charter in your voice to assist my simpleness.
What would you, Desdemona?
That I love the Moor, to live with him, my downright violence and storm of fortunes may trumpet to the world. My heart subdued even to the very quality of my lord. I saw Othello's visage in his mind, and to his honors and his valiant parts did I my soul and fortunes consecrate, so that, dear lords, if I be left behind a moth of peace, and he go to the war, the rights for why I love him are bereft me, and I a heavy interim shall support by his dear absence. Let me go with him.
Let her have your voice. Vouch with me, heaven. I therefore beg it not to please the palate of my appetite, nor to comply with heats, the young effects in me defunct, and proper satisfaction, but to be free and bounteous to her mind. And heaven defend your good souls that you think I will serious and great business scant, for she is with me. No, when light-winged toys of feathered Cupid seal with wanton dullness my speculative and office instruments, that my disports corrupt and taint my business. Let housewives make a skillet of my helm, and all in ding and base adversities make head against my estimation.
Be it as you shall privately determine, either for her stay or going. The fair cries haste, and speed must answer it.
You must away tonight.
With all my heart.
At 9 in the morning, here we'll meet again. Othello, leave some officer behind, and he shall our commission bring to you with such things else of quality and respect as doth import you.
So please your grace, my ancient, a man of his honesty and trust, to his conveyance I assign my wife, and with what else needful your good grace shall think to be sent after me.
Let it be so. A good night to everyone, and, noble signor, if virtue no delighted beauty lack, your son-in-law is far more fair than black.
Adieu, brave Moor. Use Desdemona well.
Look to her more, if thou hast eyes to see. She has deceived her mother and maid.
My life upon her fate. Honest Iago, my Desdemona and I must leave thee, and I prithee let my wife attend to her, and bring them after in the best advantage. Come, Desdemona, I have but an hour of love, of worldly matters, and direction to spend with thee. You must obey the time.
Oh, Iago!
What sayest thou, noble heart?
What will I do, think'st thou?
I go to bed and sleep.
I will incontinently drown myself.
Ah, if thou dost, I shall never love thee after. Why, thou silly gentleman.
It is silliness to live when to live is torment, and then have we a prescription to die when death is our physician?
Oh, villainous! I have looked upon the world for 4 times 7 years, and since I could distinguish betwixt a benefit and an injury, I never found man that knew how to love himself. Ere I would say I would drown myself for the love of a guinea hen, I would change my humanity with a baboon.
What should I do? I confess, it is my shame to be so fond, but it is not in my virtue to amend it.
Virtue? A fig. 'Tis in ourselves that we are thus or thus. Our bodies are our gardens, to the which our wills are gardeners, so that if we plant nettles, or sow lettuce, set hyssop, or weed up thyme, supply it with one gender of herbs, or distract it with many, either to have it sterile with idleness, or manured with industry, while the power and corrigible authority of this lies within our wills. If the balance of our lives had not one scale of reason to poise another of sensuality, the blood and baseness of our natures would conduct us to most preposterous conclusions. But we have reason to cool our raging motions, our carnal stings, our unbitted lusts, whereof I take this, that you call love to be a sect, or a scion.
It cannot be.
It is merely a lust of the blood, and a permission of the will. Come, be a man, drown thyself? Drown cats and blind puppies. I have professed thee my friend, and I confess me knit to thy deserving with cables of perdurable toughness. I could never better stead thee than now. Put thy money in thy purse. Follow thou the wars, put money in thy purse. Defeat thy favor with an usurped beard. I say, put money in thy purse. It cannot be that Desdemona should long continue her love to the Moor. Put money in thy purse. Nor he's to her. It was a violent commencement in her, and thou shalt see an answerable sequestration. But put money in thy purse. These Moors are changeable in their wills. Fill thy purse with money. The food that to him now is as luscious as locusts shall be to him shortly as bitter as Colin-Quintida. She must change for youth. When she is sated with his body, she will find the error of her choice. Therefore, put money in thy purse. If thou wilt needs damn thyself, do it in a more delicate way than drowning. Make all the money thou canst of sanctimony and a frail vow betwixt an erring barbarian and a super subtle Venetian be not too hard for my wits and all the tribe of hell. Thou shalt enjoy her. Therefore, make money. Pox of drowning thyself. It is clean out of the way. Seek thou rather to be hanged encompassing thy joy than be drowned and go without her.
Will thou be fast to my hopes if I depend on the issue?
Thou art sure of me. Go, make money. I have told thee often, and I retell thee again and again. I hate the Moor. My cause is hearted, thine hath no less reason. Let us be conjunctive in our revenge against him. If thou canst cuckold him, thou dost thyself a pleasure, me a sport. There are many events in the womb of time which will be delivered. Traverse, go provide thy money. We will have more of this tomorrow. Adieu.
But where shall we meet in the morning?
At my lodging.
I'll be with thee betimes.
Go to. Farewell. Do you hear, Rodrigo?
What say you?
No more of drowning. Do you hear?
I am changed.
Go to. Farewell. Put enough money in your purse.
I'll sell all my land.
Thus do I ever make my fool my purse. For I mine own gained knowledge should profane if I would time expend with such a snipe, but for my sport and profit. I hate the Moor, and it is thought abroad that twixt my sheets is done my office. I know not if it be true, but I, for mere suspicion in that kind, will do it as if for surety. He holds me well. The better shall my purpose work on him. Cassio's a proper man. Let me see now. To get his place and plume up my will in double knavery, how? How? Let's see. After some time, to abuse Othello's ear that he is too familiar with his wife. He hath a person and a smooth disposed to be suspected, framed to make women false. The Moor is of a free and open nature that thinks men honest but seem to be so, and will as tenderly be led by the nose as asses are. I have it. It is engendered. Hell and night must bring this monstrous birth to the world's light.
Ladies and gentlemen,